What if one lie could cost you everything? Not just your reputation, not just your status, but your very life, instantly, without a second chance or a single moment to repent. This is the story of Ananias and Sapphira, a couple who tried to play a dangerous game with the divine. Their names are etched in history as a terrifying warning, a warning about the weight of truth. To understand the gravity of their sin, we must look at the world they lived in, Jerusalem, in the days following the fire of Pentecost. The early church was a community like no other. They were joined together by a single powerful spirit, a movement born in light and truth. They were united in faith, sharing their lives and their resources with radical honesty. No one claimed that any of their possessions were their own. Thousands were coming to believe, and the power of God was moving through the streets. There was a palpable sense of the holy among them. Believers were selling their properties and houses to support those in great need. It was a revolution of the heart, a total abandonment of greed. They brought the proceeds and laid them at the feet of the apostles, for distribution to every widow, every orphan, and every traveler. There was no needy person among them, because generosity was the very heartbeat of the church, a community built on absolute mutual trust. This wasn't an obligation of law, but a voluntary overflow of love. But in this community of saints, there lived Ananias and his wife, Sapphira. They saw the respect others received. They heard the praise given to those who gave everything, and they wanted that same status without the same sacrifice. They owned a piece of land, a valuable asset. They decided to sell it, but they made a secret agreement to deceive the community. They agreed to keep back some of the money for their own private security. They wanted to appear as if they were giving everything. Pretense was their plan. The property was theirs. The money was theirs. They had every right to keep it all, but they wanted the holy reputation of a martyr. This lie wasn't born out of need, but out of pride. They were about to lie to the Spirit of God. Ananias walked into the gathering, holding the bag of coins. He looked like a man of deep faith, a pillar of the early church. He laid the money at the apostles' feet, expecting praise. But Peter didn't look at the gold. He looked into the very soul of the man before him. Divine revelation filled the room. Like a sudden chill, Ananias, Peter's voice was like a hammer. Why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit? You have kept back part of the price in secret. While it remained, was it not your own? Why have you conceived this in your heart? You have not lied to men, but directly to God. The weight of the presence of God was too much for a heart built on deception. Ananias fell down and breathed his last breath instantly. Right there, in the very spot where he sought honor, he found the final judgment. A great fear seized all who heard what had happened. Young men arose and wrapped him up. They carried him out and buried him in silence. No funeral, no ceremony, only the echo of his sin. 3 hours passed, a window of time for the news to spread, yet somehow it had not reached Sapphira. She remained unaware. She entered the hall, head held high. Perhaps she expected to find her husband being celebrated as a hero. She entered into a gravity she did not yet understand. Peter stood before her, his face a map of sorrow. He gave her one last chance to be honest. "Tell me," he said, "did you sell the land for this price?" The lie was already part of her nature. She did not hesitate. "Yes," she replied, "for so much." She sealed her own fate. "How is it that you have agreed together to test the Spirit of the Lord? Look, the feet of those who buried your husband are at the door. They will carry you out also." Immediately she fell down at his feet and yielded up her spirit in that very moment. Together in life, together in their lie, and now forever together in death. Great fear came upon the whole church. It wasn't a fear of a tyrant. but a holy awe of the power of truth. They realized that God among them was a consuming fire. Integrity was the only currency. To the modern mind, this story feels harsh, even cruel. We live in a world where small lies are the currency of survival. But in the early church, truth was the foundation. If deception took root, the entire foundation would collapse from within. The purity of the community was its greatest strength, and it had to be protected. This story reminds us of a truth we often try to hide, that God sees everything, not just our actions, but our hidden motives, our secret deals. We can deceive the world. We can even deceive ourselves, but we cannot deceive the one who knows our every thought. Integrity is about being real. The warning here isn't that we must give everything we own. The warning is about the danger of the double life, wearing a mask of holiness to hide greed. In a world of filters and curated identities, the call to radical honesty is vital. Are we who we say we are? The price of pretense is true community. It robs us of connection. But there is hope. The same fire that judges can also refine and purify. Choosing the path of truth brings a freedom that no lie can ever offer. A life that flourishes in the light. The story of Ananias and Sapphira isn't just about judgment. It's about the life that only comes through honesty. May we be a people who are real and have nothing to hide. Because where there is nothing to hide, there is nothing left to fear. Truth is the only foundation that stands the test of time and eternity. God knows the heart. You can't deceive God.